Threaten to go after people. Those words spoken by the President of the United States, openly threatening his political rivals from the sanctity of the Oval Office. During a meeting with his Philippine counterpart earlier, Donald Trump accused former President Barack Obama, a Democrat, of treason and said he should be targeted by the Justice Department. It comes days after the Trump administration released a report alleging that Obama and his aides manufactured intelligence regarding Russian attempts to interfere with the 2016 election. Mr. Trump also took aim at other rivals, including Adam Schiff, who held a key role in his first impeachment trial. But most of his fury was directed at his predecessor.
This is like proof, irrefutable proof, that Obama was seditious, that Obama was trying to lead a coup, and it was with Hillary Clinton, with all these other people, but Obama headed it up. And, you know, I get a kick when I hear everyone talks about people I never even heard of. It was this one. No, it was Obama. He headed it up. And it says so right in the papers. Got everything. Got everything. This is the biggest scandal in the history of our country.
We should note that Special Counsel Robert Mueller concluded that Russia did make significant efforts to interfere with the 2016 election, but found no evidence that the Trump campaign coordinated with the Kremlin. Well, the president's diatribe came in response to a question about Jeffrey Epstein, the accused sex trafficker who died in prison. CNN's Kevin Liptak is on duty for us at the White House this hour. And Kevin, look, even by Donald Trump standards, this was a pretty bombastic press conference just a few hours ago. As we said, they're accusing President Obama of treason, threatening to, quote, go after people. And all of this coming during a question that was put to President Trump about Jeffrey Epstein. Just walk us through it.
Yeah, and I think it's clear that President Trump, one, seemingly wants to move on from the Jeffrey Epstein matter. That was true well before today, but using this sort of allegations against the Obama administration and against Obama himself did appear as an attempt to sort of shift the topic in real time. You know, he didn't even really explain as he was moving from the Epstein matter to this matter what he was doing. He sort of just launched right into it, and he does appear to be using as his evidence those documents that were released last week by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, related to the 2017 assessment about Russia's attempts to influence that year's election. We should say that a lot of those documents twisted what actually happened. The report that came out in January 2017 found that Russia attempted to influence the election through both influence campaigns like social media, like leaking some hacked emails, but also attempting to hack voting systems. They found that they attempted to influence it, but they didn't necessarily find that they were successful in changing any votes. What Tulsi Gabbard and what President Trump seemed to be claiming is that Obama and some of his officials tried to tweak that assessment to accuse President Trump and accuse Russia of sort of electing Trump when he came into office. You know, this has always been something at the back of President Trump's mind as an attempt to undercut his legitimacy. It really clouded the first 2 years of his first time in office. He has called it the Russia hoax. And now he seems more intent than ever in trying to pin the blame directly on Obama. And in fact, even before today, he was using quite striking imagery to make his point. On Sunday, he put out on social media an AI-generated video of Obama being arrested inside the Oval Office by FBI agents and then sitting in a prison in an orange jumpsuit. So really quite remarkable imagery, remarkable words from the president. But I think very important to note as well that in all of the documents that Gabbard released, there's no evidence that Obama has committed treason. There's no evidence that he was trying to lead a coup. In fact, most of the documents that she released occurred after the 2016 election. So there's no evidence that Obama was trying to prevent Trump from coming into office. And so a lot of information, a lot of misinformation thrown out in the Oval Office, but clearly I think an attempt by the president to just move on from that Jeffrey Epstein matter.
Yeah, certainly seemed that way. Kevin, thank you for now. I want to turn to Larry Sabato, who is the director of the University of Virginia's Center for Politics. He's also the author of a brand new book titled Campaign of Chaos, Trump, Biden, Harris, and the 2024 election, which will be released this week. So, Larry, as we were hearing there from Kevin, I think we can assume that there certainly was a bit of Jeffrey Epstein at play here as a distraction tactic in this moment, as we've seen multiple times this week. But it's also concerning now that this appeared to be a renewed push and a clear attempt to go after the Democrats who went after him. What did you make of it?
Classic Trump, revolting, but classic Trump. I want to read you just one sentence from Trump's second inaugural address. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. So much for that pledge. There is zero evidence that Obama or Biden or Hillary Clinton or really anybody else that he targeted was guilty of treason. Treason, by the way, would be January 6, 2021, when Trump's troops, encouraged by Trump, tried to take over the Capitol and stop the counting of the electoral vote. That was treason.
And given what Kevin was just outlining to us there about the actions of Tulsi Gabbard, the actions of the national intelligence community, how concerned are you that we're seeing the politicization of that community now? And what sort of, if that's true, what sort of dangerous path would that be leading us down?
I think it's already happened. Every day with Trump, we take a step or two or three on the road to authoritarianism. And people who are not paying close attention may not realize it's happening every single day. And that's why it's very important to do what I've seen CNN do domestically and internationally today, which is to hold Trump to account for his words, his outrageous, unsupported words. He's encouraging the trend toward authoritarianism. He's challenging every major institution in American life, from universities to law firms, obviously to his political opponents. And most of the time, he's winning thanks to controlling Congress almost completely and having the Supreme Court at his back.
Do you also feel that at this point of his presidency, that Donald Trump is perhaps becoming increasingly Nixonian in his willingness to engage in conspiracy theories, to settle old scores? And what would that spell?
Nixon is a choir boy compared to Donald Trump. And I lived through all the Nixon years and Watergate and everything else. Nixon wouldn't have dreamed of doing most of the things that Trump has done, even in his first term, but certainly in his second term. This is deeply disturbing. It ought to disturb anybody who supports a democratic republic. And all we can do is speak against it and make people face up to the fact that the American republic in many ways is endangered.
I just want to get your final thoughts on the political jeopardy of this moment for Donald Trump. He is very driven to obscure and to divert from this ongoing saga. How much of a threat do you think this is posing right now to his administration?
It's posing some threat only because his base, the MAGA base, Make America Great base, has been so completely in his thrall, cult-like, really. This is the first time they've been split over an issue. But I've also noticed, if you look at the entrails of many of these surveys, you'll find that they're still with Trump 95% of the time. And that is 30, 35%, occasionally 40% of the American public. Presidents can still do outrageous things if they have 40% support. It's only when they get down into the 20s, like Jimmy Carter did, like Richard Nixon did, that their administrations are threatened.
All right, Larry Sabato, always great to have your perspective on the show. Appreciate it. Thank you.